Okay, for this question, they're asking us to write a matrix equation and then solve it using matrices, inverse matrices. And of course, that's all calculator driven. But let's write the matrix equation. That's important. So I remember, if you've been reading anything else, we're going to break the coefficients off of each of the terms. And I got to get my pen going. So -3, -2, and we're dividing this off into rows and columns, right? We get a 4, and then we get a -1. And that's the first row of coefficients. Then 18, a 9, -6. Don't make a sign mistake. Don't copy the sign wrong, because that'll mess you all up. 6, 4, -2, +2, +3, +2, -4, +3. So here's the coefficient matrix. Then we need to have the variables matrix. And so we have 4 variables, x, y, z, and w. And that's our variable matrix. Those are getting multiplied. That equals the constant matrix, or the answers, I call them. 30, -75, -30, and -24. And there's my matrix equation. Now to solve it, you've got to think about, remember, we have if we have 3 times x equals 5, I can solve this by multiplying by the multiplicative inverse of 3, divide by 3, right? But really what I'm doing is I'm multiplying by the multiplicative inverse, because 3 times 1/3 is 1x. I want to solve it for x. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse of that matrix, of that coefficient matrix. And to find an inverse by hand is a royal pain in the butt. Well, 2x2 matrices aren't hard. 4x4, that's involved. It would take you pages of work to do. So they gave us this nice new tool to use. Now let me clear all that. Let's see if I can expand this a little bit so you can see this film, the video. So what I'm going to do is, let me quit the screen, and I'm going to do second x to the -1. You see the matrix button over it? That gets me in this menu. And then I have to arrow over to the edit, because I have to be able to edit the matrix. Now, matrices are in rows and columns, so this is 4 rows and 4 columns. And when I hit enter, and then I'm just going to key in that matrix. And I'm sorry about you making this video a little longer, but I guess I'll do this. You could follow along while I'm typing this in. Other kinds of calculators besides Texas Instruments calculators do this. I don't know how to use them because I've never really used them, but I know they do this. There's also, if you don't have a TI calculator, there's certainly many matrix solvers, manipulators on the internet. You can find some. There might even be some Android apps or Apple iOS apps. I haven't played with those. -2 and 2, and then the last row, 3, 2, -4, and 3. And let's make sure I've got all these numbers entered in right, because that's the #1 mistake I make, is an entry error. That all looks good. So that's my coefficient matrix. Now I've got to get my constant matrix in here. So I'm going to quit this screen, second quit. Yeah, let me clear that off. Let me clear that. So then again, I'm going to do, how do I access the matrix menu? I hope you said, oh, we can do second, x to the -1, and then we're going to edit. I'm going to edit matrix 2 and matrix B, not matrix 1. Matrix 1, we just did all that work. We don't want to change that. So I'm going to edit matrix B, and this is 4 rows, 1 column. And we're going to do 30, -75, -30, and negative 24. And I think for those all in right, yep. I should make sure that I copied these down correctly off the problem. Yes, I did. Okay, so now we're going to quit this screen, and now comes the work that what makes this all worth it. So then I'm going to do second matrix and matrix 1. I'm going to do the inverse of that, which this means it finds the multiplicative inverse. It's not just taking the reciprocal. And then I'm going to multiply that by matrix B, by my constant matrix. The second matrix 2. Notice I'm not editing it. I just want the actual values. And then I've got those answers. So it's they're telling me X is -1, Y is -5, Z is 5, and W is 3. So it's an ordered quadruple is how we call them. And of course, let's see if I get this right. When I've done all this work, I might as well get that green check. 5 and 3 and submit. And I did get them right. Okay. To do this kind of problem by hand would take you a couple pages of paper. So, I mean, you have to eliminate a bunch of variables. So, I encourage you to learn to use inverse matrices to solve linear systems.